And Andrea is the next speaker. So all know Andrea and from the very powerful Graz team.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for having me for this anniversary celebration. And I will give some personal perspectives and personal reflections and the Wegener Center perspective on radio occultation for climate, on GPS MET and cosmic for climate. And this is how it all started at the University of Graz in Austria. It started in 1995 with a small research group on atmospheric remote sensing and climate system research founded by Gottfried Kirchengast, thanks to fundings by the European Space Agency, where we worked on atmospheric profiling, where we used this new GPS MET data, where we worked on retrieval of GPS MET data, analysis of GPS MET data. And in this small group, there were 2 young PhD students. We haven't changed much. We just grew more blonde, I think. Yeah, Uli worked on water vapor tomography, and my PhD thesis was on high-resolution sounding of key climate variables with the aid of the radio occultation technique. And on the right-hand side, you see a copy of my working book, where I noted down I started on the 3rd of January 96, working on my PhD thesis, working on the GPS MET data. I made notes on the retrieval, dry, moist air retrieval, and I made notes on recommended literature that I should read by a guy named Krasinski, for example. Yeah, and of course our group kept growing. Mark Schwertz came in. Colleagues like Christian Recher, Armin Löscher went to ESA and ESRIN and are still working there. And in 2000, not to mention Steve Sundergaard stayed with us, I think, for a while in the early days. Jens Wickert joined us for working on his PhD thesis. Also, Axel von Engeln joined us working on his PhD thesis. And in 2005, the Wegener Center for Climate and Global Change was founded, which basically integrated our research group into a broader research on climate change, also connecting with environmental and socioeconomic research. In 2010, the University of Graz became an international affiliate of UCAR. We have here a picture with Rick Antis. That was the day when the UCAR-Uni Graz partnership was signed, and it established fruitful, great cooperations with all the people here at UCAR, and also great friendship. Our research group worked on radio occultation on climate from the early days on. So we focused on using this data for monitoring climate change. We worked on uncertainty characterization. We established the first climate records from CHEM. And I would like to note, I think, 1 or 2 milestones were these first studies on trend detection with GPS MET and CHEM data, and the first attribution study using optimal fingerprinting with GPS MET and CHEM data, which already showed an emerging climate change signal in the troposphere, in the stratosphere, an uplift of geopotential height. I think these were important steps. Further important steps was the establishing of the workshop series on occultations for growing atmosphere and climate. You see here the workshop photo. Ben Herman joined, Sung Feng joined, Professor Gurvich was there, Pavelyev, Michael Gorbunov, yeah, and many people that are in this room joined at this first meeting in 2002. And we already saw this picture of our 20-year celebration in 2022, where we had our OPAC meeting at Seckau Castle, south of Graz. With all these workshops, we also published proceedings. So we had 3 Springer books, and we then moved to the AMT special issues. Currently, there is still one special issue ongoing. And there are basically 2, let's say, secrets behind this slide. One is my personal drama with this New Horizons in Occultation Research book, where we had this book camera ready. So that's how it worked with Springer at the time. Camera ready. We did all the proofs. We did the typesetting. It was finished. We gave it to Springer. They should just print it. And they told us, oh, we have changed our, we have outsourced some steps of our processing. We've outsourced the typesetting, and this book will be typeset. And we got the book back, and it was a total mess with errors over errors. And so we had really to go back and start from scratch and correct everything with this book. I really remember this. This was hard work together with Barbara. And below here you see science and socializing. So that's also I think the secret. It's important to work on science, but it is also important to socialize, to sit together, to eat and drink. And yeah, if you have time, please, I really recommend you to check out the post-workshop photo galleries of OPAC, and specifically OPAC 3. You will find really, really funny pictures where we had an excursion into a castle and then a night's dinner. Funny pictures, check it out. Can I go further? No? Oops, yes. Yeah, it worked now. Yeah, another milestone was the founding of the International Radio Occultation Working Group in 2009, initiated at an ECMWF ROMSAF workshop. We had this first IROWG workshop in 2010 in Graz. And also important was the cooperation within the radio occultation intercomparison group, where all the processing centers work together on comparing their products, regarding the consistency, regarding the reproducibility, regarding the uncertainty of radio occultation products. Papers led by Ben Ho, for example. This was also the path from GPS MET via CHEM to COSMIC. One important paper I'd like to note here was by Uli, assessing the climate monitoring utility of RO data from CHEM to Formosat 3 COSMIC, also a highly cited paper in Tau. What do I do wrong here? Okay, just take some time. And then the next important milestone was the use of radio occultation data within the broader climate community. One example is the use within the activity and atmospheric temperature changes from the World Climate Research Program, where we published this paper on observed changes in the troposphere and stratosphere. So this vertically resolved temperature trends with conventional data and including radio occultation. These are pictures from our workshops that we had, and also to mention the nice review paper by Barbara Schellin-Pirscher on the use of radio occultation, all the applications related to climate. This doesn't work. I don't know why. Where do I have to point to? The radio occultation data or the radio occultation climate records are meanwhile used in climate assessment reports in the BAM State of the Climate in 2021 in the stratosphere section led by Bill Rendell, in the IPCC report, which noted that these new observation techniques permit more robust quantification of temperature changes. So very important applications. And also in 2023, the involvement in the Earth's energy imbalance study. So it's not my fault that I'm that it doesn't.
Can anybody do it manually
So
from
it's
the?
just this last.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I
that's
can
my
advance them
last
for you.
slide. Just to the can you just jump to the last slide? So overall, radio occultation data, GPS MET data, cosmic data are highly important data for climate monitoring that have to be sustained. I congratulate the team, the GPS MET cosmic team on these successful missions, and say many thanks for the great cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea, for this really nice presentation. So Chris is the next speaker.